Welcome in, Chiefs Kingdom, to Chiefs Latest, your one-stop spot for everything Kansas City Chiefs in 15 minutes or less. It is your host, Calvin Silvers. Happy Thursday, just one day away from that 4th of July weekend. I know everyone is excited to get the boats out, get out on the lake, and of course have the hot dogs on the grill. But we have a lot to tackle before we even think about that, including another potential free agent signing that the Chiefs could add for their defense. There's a lot to tackle, but before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications, as it not only helps me and the channel, but it's going to help you stay up to date with everything Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I mentioned yesterday we talked about a potential trade and free agent signing that the Chiefs could look at to help the secondary more in the safety position, but we're going to stick within the secondary, but we're going to look at the cornerback room and should the Chiefs add Asante Samuel Jr. Now, this is no secret. Signing him would ignite the Chiefs secondary right away. But like most players in the league, there is an injury history that follows him. It's a very physical league. It's no secret there. I mean, we're still technically even waiting to see if he can even play a full season. We should know more answers here soon, as he is getting a medical checkup early this month. But at age 25, his 6 interceptions, 37 pass breakups in his first 3 years. Now, he technically has 4, but wasn't a full season last year. Only played 4 games. We'll get into that here in a second. But when Spags goes more zone heavy, he's going to be a threat. He has that outside experience. He has that slot versatility. And what's even better is, because of that injury, $5 to $7 million projected per year. You can maybe even try to get him a little lower, especially if you're the Chiefs, because you could promise him a run at a Super Bowl. 11.5 million to about 12 million is what the Chiefs have to work with. But once again, that shoulder injury, neck issues that do linger, it has limited him to 4 games, which we saw last year. But we have also seen him excel with those lingering issues. And also, he's young. He's 25. It's not like this is a 32-year-old, 33-year-old trying to battle all this. No, it's a young kid. And I trust that he would be able to handle it better than, say, someone that is on the other side of 30. And I was kind of mentioning that cornerback room already, but Williams, Watson, Johnson, they're all in contract years. So you bring in Samuel on a 1-year deal, that's going to spark a hyper-competitive cornerback room. You're going to see those that are truly good and can rise to the top do that, and those that are going to shrink with good competition or can't handle the pressure are going to do that. And then who to deal elsewhere, who deserves a spot. I just like the competition. They say competition breeds excellence. Now, why does this matter? Because yes, you have Trent McDuffie, but your secondary consistency, there was struggles there. You still allowed over 4,000 passing yards last season. Yes, regular season and postseason combined. You just need another lockdown corner. And like we were mentioning, this is free agency value. He's unsigned. He has to get medically cleared. He has a lingering issue, but it's yet a cost-effective fix, and you don't have to give away any draft picks, and you don't have to give away any players. As I mentioned, 4 games played last year, had that injury, 13 combined tackles, no interceptions, 2 pass breakups. Looking at 2021 to 2023, 6 interceptions, 37 pass breakups, 63 tackles. Passer rating allowed was around 90. And then again, get him in that cornerback room. You start him opposite Trent McDuffie, and then you see Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, Najee Johnson. You all see them step up with the competition and then start putting them where they need to go. Yes, I get it. That stinger issues causes numbness, causes weakness. You need a clean medical report for a full season, but I have seen him be effective even with those, and he's young, and I trust that he's going to handle it. So I'm all for this if they can get it to work. He has those 6 career picks, turnover machine in a zone scheme. Could get him about $5 to $7 million per year. Might be able to even get it less than that. I think it's a good addition for the Chiefs secondary. All right, let's go ahead, and since we were talking about contract years, who will have the best contract year this upcoming season? More specifically, which 2022 draft pick will have the best contract year? That's right, they are coming up at the end of their deals, and I think George Karlaftis is poised for the best contract year among the Chiefs' 2022 draft picks, outshining those like Trent McDuffie, Sky Moore, Brian Cook. I just think his 10.5 sacks last season, his relentless motor, just the fact that I've seen him get better every single season. I think he's a prime candidate for a massive extension. I think he can even potentially rival Gregory Russo's $80 million deal. That's going to be a reference point for Karlaftis if things go his way. Again, McDuffie, we've already know his elite coverage. He's already Pro Bowl caliber. But I think we've seen more near his ceiling than what we have with Karlaftis, especially in this contract year. I've already talked about Sky Moore. I think this was probably his last chance with the Chiefs, and then he'll be somewhere soon. Cook's modest impact, I don't think, compete with what we're going to see from Karlaftis' potential, what we're going to see him do to reset the edge market. It's important because you need to have a pass rush priority. You need a dominant edge. You need someone like Karlaftis. It's critical for disruption. $15.2 million fifth-year option, that's a high cap hit, a career year that could justify a long-term deal, which would be beneficial for the Chiefs because they would be able to lower it by spreading, that guaranteed money and bonuses over multiple years. So that you want to get him on a long-term deal than not. And just with these contract years, there's a lot of motivation. A lot of those other guys that I listed, they face pressure to perform. But we already know Karlaftis and McDuffie can do it. They're already in premium positions. So I think that just, takes some of the edge off of them, and it allows them to play more relaxed and like themselves compared to, Watson and whatnot, who are fighting for their lives just to stay on this team. I think that adds a lot more pressure, and I think that might hinder some of their performances. But with your dynasty, with Karlaftis being able to have a breakout year, I just think that your defensive front stays intact. You know that it's been working, and I think if he can prove that to you, especially this year, he deserves that long-term contract. 10.5 sacks last season, tied for 15th in the NFL, 32 quarterback pressures and 18 hurries, 24.5 sacks in his career, 3 forced fumbles over 3 seasons. Trent McDuffie, 3 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, 88.2 PFF coverage grade, in a Pro Bowl selection. Do I really need to go over Sky Moore? Minimum offensive snaps. Didn't really have anything statistically to contribute. Brian Cook, 44 tackles, an interception, rotational safety role for him. So, yeah, get Karlaftis. I think he's going to have a breakout. That's also going to reduce reliance on Felix Anudike-Uzomah, and that's going to free up cap for other extensions, which is huge. We know that there's other people that need extensions here on the Chief. Also, too, when we look at this, I think people know not to test McDuffie's sides. So how much quote-unquote production will we see from him, because teams know not to throw to his side, especially if he keeps his side of the field locked down. So I think Cook does have something to play for. I'm not saying that he can't have, one of the biggest contract years, because decent play could earn him a modest deal elsewhere. But I just think Karlaftis, what he did last season, his continuously getting better, his pass rush upside, I think he is poised to have the best contract year out of all the names that I list, out of all the 2022 draft picks. Charles Omenihu, he looks ready for 2025-26. He was posting some workouts. Yeah, he looks prime. He looks prime for a breakout 2025 season, fully recovered now from his ACL tear, and he is hungry to dominate. 7 sacks in 11 games in 2023, 23.5% pressure rate. That just shows elite potential. We saw that back, as I mentioned, in 2023. Last year, limited, but $7 million one-year deal. That could be considered a steal among, fans and people that just know football. Versatility inside and out. It's going to be problematic. Again, he went through intense rehab, hurdle jumps, no soreness, he says. He says he is back to form, and he looks back to form. And this is needed because what was I just talking about? You need a good pass rush, especially in the AFC. Put that presence along with Chris Jones, Karlaftis, Mike Dana. It could be fun. And you're allowing Jones now to exploit interior matchups. Again, in that $7 million, it offers high upside depth without breaking the bank, unlike pricier free agents that are out there still that the Chiefs could look at. Again, 6 games played post-ACL recovery, activated around week 13, 6 tackles for solo, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 12 pressures in regular season, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and 3 playoff games. So he's showing up in the playoffs as well. He's not shrinking and going away. But when you look at the Chiefs' defense, captured over 40 regular season sacks. That could push them even higher. 40's not bad. They can go even higher. They can go 45, 50 with a healthy Omenihu. His physicality, and he does have a knack for strip sacks. Well, we can go back to, I believe it was 2023 Lamar Jackson. Uh, but not only that, he could just disrupt a bunch of AFC West passers with that strip sack. So full ACL recovery, 7 sack potential. That's going to make him a breakout candidate for 2025. I'm excited, and he's excited by what he's been posting. Expect Charles Omenihu to have a great season. And last but not least, we have to have a debate here. Who would you rather have in their prime, Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers? Because it's been a topic of debate lately, especially with Aaron Rodgers now going to the Steelers. Now I get it. Aaron Rodgers, his deep ball accuracy, it's legit. It's legit. But Patrick Mahomes, his prime outshines what Rodgers was doing in his prime. Mahomes' playmaking, his drive-sustaining magic, his ability to show up in clutch moments, and his ability to elevate players around him. I'm going Mahomes rather than Rodgers in their primes. And Mahomes has carried shaky Chiefs defenses. Now, the last couple of years, it's been the defense that you could argue has been carrying them. But unlike Rodgers, he's leaned on stronger units. Earlier on, for Mahomes, it was all him in the offense. Of course, he had Tyreek, and Kelsey, but it was him in the offense. But not only that, Mahomes has a 0.23 playoff EPA. That's Josh Allen MVP numbers. So when it comes to the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes is playing at an MVP level. Now, before the Super Bowl loss, 9 straight playoff wins, 5 double-digit comeback wins. That just proves that he's more clutch. And I would rather have him in his prime, because if he's doing this now, he still has all these years to just keep honing in. And if he's this clutch now and will only get more experience, what's going to happen then? 75.7% scramble success rate in 2024. That's top among quarterbacks. That just adds another dimension that Rodgers lacks. A lot of people don't give enough respect to Mahomes and his legs. At 29, Mahomes' prime, it's right now. Rodgers' peak was later in his career when he was older. Not only that, but Mahomes has the rings already to prove it. He just has the rings right now where, Rodgers only has one. Mahomes' playmaking, his scrambling, keeps Chiefs atop the division, even with the best scramblers in the game. Mahomes lift players. He's lifted wide receiver rookies. They've had to step up. He needed them to step up. He got them to step up. Not only that, Mahomes has had to go toe-to-toe with much better quarterbacks and much better defenses and offenses than what Rodgers faced. Think about that. You're going against the best quarterbacks and best offenses. You have to go toe-to-toe to keep putting up the points. Mahomes was doing that. Rodgers didn't have the same kind of quarterbacks to go against and the same kind of offenses to try to keep toe-and-toe with.